hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Girl Encourage Her. I am your host, Shaniqua Inspires, and I'm excited. You guys know I get super excited when I am introducing someone brand new to you all. And I'm excited because I actually got a chance to meet this person, this young lady in person. And we are definitely on the right track to building and growing a supportive relationship. So I'm excited. I'm not going to chit chat for long. I'm going to go ahead and bring her to the stage. So now my new friend can become your new friend. Come on up here, Charlene. Hey, girl.
Hey, yes, let's all become friends today. That's what it's about.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, we are here to encourage women around the globe that we are not in competition with each other. We are here to complement one another. So I'm excited to have you here today. Miss Dividends is what I'd like to call you, right? The Dividends Queen. Please introduce yourself to the people.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm Charlene, the Dividend Queen. I am from the South Side of Chicago, so any Southsiders, shout out to you. I want to start my story with my goals and my dreams because that's where it all starts for us, right? We do what we do because of the dreams that we had inside of us. And growing up on the South Side, I wanted to find a way to impact my community, right? We were lacking resources in a lot of our communities. So I became a certified public accountant. But on my journey to becoming a CPA, I went to DePaul University, studied accounting and finance, minored in community service studies so that I could really have that balance of business and community. And I went to work at JP Morgan. And when I started my job, I was on a roll. I was in a financial analyst development program. I was working those hours, as many of us do, as young people, putting in the hours, putting in the work. And I felt pain, excruciating pain that just wouldn't go away. And I went to doctors, didn't get any answers. And it led to me having an unexpected surgery. And that one moment, I would say, determined my entire life after that. I ripped up my 10-year plan of what I thought I wanted my life to be and decided to create a life of purpose. And over those next 5 years, I started competing in pageants. I won the Miss Corporate America 2015 pageant. And I decided to quit my dream job and live my dream life.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, because we all have those dreams inside of us. And it's like, what is going to motivate you to shut up all the doubts, fears, uncertainties in your head and just do it? And that's when I created my book, Dividends Are a Queen's Best Friend. I started speaking around the world. I traveled and danced around the world with people. Like I was almost 30 years old and traveled to all these different countries dancing. And you know what? I realized sometimes it just takes that one thing in your life to unlock another level of you. And so that's me in a nutshell. And I'm so happy to share more.
Oh, that is awesome. Now, you hit on some key things here, and I want to make certain that we understand. So, you were working this job, you were in this career, you were climbing the corporate ladder, you were doing the darn thing, as many of us do as young people. And when you said that, it reminded me, when I was young in my nursing career, child, please, I was hitting those 12-hour shifts like nobody's business. 3 days, 4 days back to back. If they called me for a fifth day, I was on it because you just have that stamina and that momentum to, just to keep pushing forward to reach those dreams. But then you said something very, very profound, that even in the midst of, climbing the corporate ladder, pulling yourself up from growing up, the South Side of Chicago, you had a pivotal moment. And it's so unfortunate when a health scare, a crisis, some type of traumatic event has to occur. But it did something inside of you where it now helped you to focus on what your dreams truly were. So you mentioned that you left this quote unquote dream job to make your life a full-fledged dream, to live your dream life. What gave you the courage, Charlene, to make that pivotal decision in your life?
I didn't want to die with my dreams inside of me.
Mm,
When you have a health scare, you never know what's next in your life. Something can happen in the emergency room and your life can be over. And so, me fast forwarding to the end of my life, what legacy did I want to leave behind? What did I want people to say about me? And I didn't just want people to say that I worked 60 hours a week.
yeah,
I
yeah.
knew there was so much more to me than that. And so in that moment, I had to redefine, what does success look like for me? Not for the world.
Mhm.
What does success look like for me? And that was probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make, because then we have to tear up some of those thoughts in our head of what success looks like, and sometimes go against the grain and create a path that may not even exist.
I love it. I love it. Now, another thing that you mentioned about getting into the pageant space, right? And congratulations to you. You left out a big part. You just had a major win, being the people's choice. Like, we selected you.
Yes, yes. Thank you to the people. Yes, I
Yes,
appreciate it.
yes, yes. So that was the International Miss. You were representing Illinois, and you won that. You did that. I really wanted to be out there with you. I really wanted to be out there. But I was like, you know what? Finances, and we're gonna talk about them here. Finances, we're gonna get there. But I was just like, just realistically, I need to stay and I can cheer from the sidelines. And I was seeing all of the pictures, and I was like, girl, you did that. You
Oh, thank
look
you
so
so much.
elegant. You had on the Chicago Bulls. I was like,
Yes, go
listen,
Chicago.
and she did that with the Chicago Bulls jersey. It was all pretty and glitterified, and and you made it so glamorous. And so my question to you is, how do you go? How do you go from growing? Because we know the stories. We've seen the news reports. We've heard the tales about the South Side of Chicago. How do you go from growing up there to now gracing these stages? Like, what made you decide to get into the pageants in the first place?
Yeah, one, you have to be intentional about what you want your life to look like. And two, that health scare motivated me to start doing pageants. So in 2010, that's when I first had surgery.
Yes.
And during that 8-week period, I sat down, I read books about success and people living their dreams. And I was like, you know what? I want to live my dream. So, what is going to be that vehicle that will take me from where I am to where I want to go? And that was pageantry for me. It was like the ultimate professional and personal development activity,
Yeah.
because you have to make sure you are getting outside of your comfort zone to stand on the stage in front of people and be judged.
Yeah.
What?
Mhm.
And then you have to make sure you are speaking about your platform. If you don't speak about it, if you don't share it, nobody will know. And I also wanted to give back. I knew that I was being blessed through my story, that there could have been so many things that could have went wrong during surgery, but it didn't. I felt like I was getting a second chance. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use pageantry as my ministry. And
Mm.
that's what I did. And I won my first pageant in 2015. And this last pageant I did, that was the first time I stepped on a stage in 8 years. So I was terrified this time, right? Life had changed drastically in 8 years. I was a different person. But what motivated me this time was, I have scars now. I
Ooh.
have scars. I don't look the same. And
Yeah.
so, am I going to be courageous enough to show off the wounds from my surgery, everything that I've been through? Am I going to show that off to really tell another level of this story?
Mm. My God. Yes, honey. That is amazing. So, what words of encouragement would you offer to a young woman, not even a young woman, because, my audience, like, we women of a certain age, we're a little bit seasoned on this side of the town, right? But what would you say? Because we do live in a society that is very judgmental, right? We get it so much where we start to judge ourselves. We start to say that we're not good enough. We start to believe that nobody wants to hear our stories, that nobody will, show up to anything that we do. They won't buy our purchase, our products, our books. We live in such a judgmental society. And even if we've never had the experience of being in the pageants, we know what it stands for. We've seen it, the Miss America pageants. We grew up watching it. We see it where the ladies are up on the stage. They're very, very poised and they are being judged. So, what type of mindset, what kind of encouragement would you give someone for the mindset? Talk about the mindset strength you had to be in that space where people were going to judge you. They're judging the way you look, the way you walk, the things you do. How could somebody purposely want to be in this type of judgmental space?
Yeah, that's a great question because for the last 5 years, I was dealing with fibroids.
Mhm.
And some people, you may not have pain or you may not see it. Well, mine was clearly visible. I looked like I was 8 months pregnant. I was wobbling around and I was having the symptoms of pregnancy, throwing up, and, just a lot of pain. But it took a toll on me mentally some days because I was like, who am I? This isn't me. I feel like something is taking over me.
Yeah.
And the mental strength was really getting in my word,
Mm.
understanding that I am the daughter of a king.
Yeah.
He made me for a specific purpose. This experience is for a specific reason. So, what am I supposed to take away in this season? Because God doesn't give us any experience for for nothing.
Yeah.
It's a reason. So I had to take the reason in in that moment, and I had to embrace what God had given me. Like maybe God has given this to me so that I can be a blessing to other women. Maybe
Mm.
He's given this to me so that I can be strengthened in
Yes.
another way to go where He's calling me to go. Maybe I need to redirect my path, right? Because sometimes there are situations that will sit us down because we are too busy being a busybody to sit down,
Come
right?
on.
And so for me, I was like, you know what? It isn't about me.
Yeah.
It isn't about me. Who cares about my scars? Who cares about my pain? It's about how I can share the story to relate to somebody else who doesn't want to go outside, who's suffering in silence,
Mm.
who's downplaying their dreams, don't even want to show up for themselves because of what they're dealing with. It's for that. God is using us to be a testimony to what He can do through us when we
Mhm.
give up, let go, and are obedient and submit to the process. So I had to submit to something beyond me in
Yeah.
order to get through this. So I started reading my word more. Like I was reading it before, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
There's a different level of when you build that relationship, when you commit to bringing this into your life every day. And the women I met in the pageant, they were also faith-based women.
Love
So
it.
it was growing me in a different way. Every time I had a conversation, they were telling me how God was working in their lives and how before they got on stage, they made sure God was in it. That it wasn't them who was driving the cart. It was God
Yeah.
who was helping define the experience, the moment, their contributions. Pageantry truly became my ministry, and it became the way that I was able to overcome the mental struggles of dealing with this and realize, hey, this isn't for me. I can encourage so many people. I can help other people get through this and become and be better than they were before.
Awesome. Awesome. Listen, you speak in my language now. I know she got everybody's attention now, because it is so important that people understand that when you are grounded in God, you can go through everything. Like, so no matter what it is, whether it's, health issues, whether it's surgery, whether it's something mental, anguish, grief, whatever it is, we are in the process of moving through it. but it does take that submission. So you hit upon it really, really well. Now, listen, I cannot have you here. Now, everybody knows, like, I bring on guests to, to speak to the audience. I serve you guys. I give you what you need. I bring on those people who will speak something into you. They will give you that encouragement to go on for your unique situation. But I'm going to tell you right now, I was a little bit selfish. I brought Charlene here for me. Why? Because she is skilled in what it is that she does. And she is on this platform to talk to women around the world about wealth and finances and making that money uh usable. Like we have to learn how to use money in the right way. So you are the dividends queen, and you are speaking to women specifically about these dividends. So explain to us in its simplest form, what do you mean when you say the word dividend?
Yes, so dividends are a queen's best friend because it's an extra stream of income you can get for shopping. Yes,
Oh,
shopping, doing what you love, right? So if you love to shop, all it takes is understanding what you want, clicking that press button, and buying the assets that you want to add to your portfolio. So now you're in a position to not just get the products that you want, like Nike and the items from Target and Walmart. You can also get the profits that these companies are producing. I like the idea of getting two for one, right?
listen, don't we all? Yes.
Yes. Yes. And so when I teach people about it, I start with the basics because in order to invest in a company, you have to be willing to invest in yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Your investments are only going to grow as much as the investments in yourself. So when you get your paycheck, how are you allocating your dollars? Are you investing in yourself first or something else? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? That first 10% tithe, right? And then what are you going to do with the other 90%? You want to make sure you're paying yourself first, putting
Mm-hmm.
money in your emergency fund and savings. And I really didn't know what it meant until I left my job. I thought
Ooh,
I was putting money in my emergency fund and savings, but I realized that little piece that I was adding to the pie,
yeah.
it wouldn't be enough to cover me for a whole year.
Wow.
So am I really creating a foundation for myself, right? We say start with 1,000, but don't stop there.
Yeah.
Get your 3 month emergency fund, 6 month, 9 months, 12 months, because it's not a good idea to invest in somebody else before you start investing in yourself. So, emergency fund, check the box on that. Set a goal. How much do you need to take care of yourself for a certain period of time?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I ask myself, how much does it cost to be me? That's a
Ooh.
reality check, right? If it costs 5,000 to be me every month, I better be willing to put more than $5,000 in an emergency fund to be able to take care of me for the next 30 days.
Yeah. Listen to Cicely Sunday's podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and more. New episodes start in December. I love that advice. And I've heard a lot of people who are in the financial space, they speak to those premises. And I love when believers put the spin on it, because in the church, we do understand the tithing principle, right? We understand the tithing principle. But if we can give our first fruits unto God, that's an exercise, right? So tithing is an exercise that gets us into the mindset of, before we start spending all of our money, let's now take it off the top. So what can we offer up to God? And then you said something really, really profound. And I've been living off of this for many, many years. My pastor had preached about it. And once you hear the pastor say it, then you're like, okay, it's law. And he mentioned about, tithing 10% to God first, tithing 10% to yourself second, and then the 80% that is left, then, the gas company, the electric company, the mortgage company, they can fight over that. But you want to make certain that you're exercising that same principle, that same honor, right? Because when we give that 10% to God, we are bringing honor to Him. Why don't we honor ourselves?
Exactly.
Right. So I love that. And I liked how, and I want everybody to really think of this. Charlene hit it on the head. She said, how much does it cost to be Charlene for a month? Right. So think about yourself. And listen, if you like me and you like the finer things and you like some expensive stuff, well, you then have to plan accordingly. So how much does it cost? How much does it take to be you for the month? Meaning, taking care of your overhead costs, meaning like your mortgage, your rent, the all of the essentials, your phone bill, like all of the things that you need. How much is that going to cost? And it's scary. It
Mhm.
is scary. I know it is scary because I'll be honest, Charlene, there was a time in my life where I didn't really have money for savings. At least that's what I told myself. So, what kind of encouragement would you give someone who says, you know what? I understand how much it costs per month to live the lifestyle that I've grown accustomed to, but I just don't have the extra money.
Yeah. So you know what? It comes down to a simple equation. You have to ask yourself, what two variables can I change in order to make this work? Am I going to increase my income or am I going to decrease my expenses? So
Mm,
let's start with the expense side of it. You know, it costs $5,000 to be you. Let's look at all of those expenses, the basic necessities and those wants. Are there any things that you can cut out for maybe just a couple of months
yeah.
that can give you more money back in your bank account, right? I remember when I felt myself in credit card debt at one point
Yeah.
when I left my job. And I was like, oh my God, this happened so fast. I didn't expect to be in credit card debt like over a month, right? Of
Mhm.
time. But I had to, one, eliminate my credit card for a couple of, I think I did it for at least 6 months. I did not carry credit cards with me because I was like, you know what? I have to be more responsible with credit cards
Mhm.
before I can carry it. And I realized every time I have a credit card on me, it's so easy to
Easy.
swipe and go.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes.
So
Oh, I see it. I want it. I got
yes,
the plastic
you
for it.
have yes. So you have to build that foundation for discipline because it becomes so easy to just use it. And then look at those expenses. Ask yourself, are these expenses getting me closer to the life I really want?
Yes.
Because if it's not, then it becomes easier to eliminate those expenses. For me, I had a snack problem. I loved my snacks all the time. I had to have it, right? And I was like, you know what? If I have more snacks, then I might have to have more dental fees, dental expenses,
No.
and everything else that comes with it. How can I reallocate my money in order to live more of my dream life and have more money to invest? So that's the expenses side. Be real with yourself. You don't have to give up everything, but what can you give up so that you can have more money in your account? And if you don't have an expense problem and you realize there's nothing I can give up, let's look at the income side of this.
Yeah.
Are there more streams of income that I can create from my skills? And for me, after the pandemic, I started over and I made multiple streams of income from my finance passion, right? So what is that one passion? How can you make multiple streams of income from that? Ask yourself that. So in 2021, I made over six figures just from being a writer. Yes, a freelance writer, right? And I
Wow.
never thought about that because I did not make that much when I was starting my career in finances. No, I did not. But as a writer, this is what I did. I wrote for different publications, but I started off writing for free so I can gain experience. I knew SEO, I knew websites, I knew how to publish the articles, I knew how to create everything in the social media to make sure it attracts people to the page. So I understand the process from pitch to publish. And so I wrote articles. I could write articles faster because the more you do anything, the
Yeah.
faster you get. It could have taken a month to write an article. Then I got it down to a week. Then I got it down to a day. Then I got it down to a couple of hours to write an
Mhm.
article. So it
Yeah.
became easier and I created a system around that. And then you start speaking about what you write about, right? That's it. Just speak about what you write about. Then you turn it into a course and you turn it into a book. Dividends Are a Queen's Best Friend was my book that came from a bunch of blog posts. So, how many streams of income can you create from the things that you love to do and that you are gifted at? Those things, balancing the income and expenses, will help you find some hidden money in your bank account.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And now you mentioned something and it sparked my attention because that's one of my downfalls. You said shopping at Target. Target, Walmart, these are these places that you go in, you're attempting to get one thing and then you come out with a million other stuff. But you mentioned somehow that we can use that passion, that ability to shop to actually generate an income by looking at what it is that you're good at. So maybe you're a good shopper, right? You can become someone's personal shopper, right? There are different ways that we can tap in. And I loved how you mentioned really just focusing on your passion. And I think many people want a quick fix, right? They're looking for that get rich quick scheme, whatever's hot for the moment, whether it's selling newspapers, making chip, whatever it is, whatever the hot thing is to make money, that's what we tend to gravitate to. But what we fail to realize is that it's going to be short lived because we're not doing it from the proper intention. So if we look at the things that we are passionate about, that is how we can produce those multiple streams. And you hit on something even, I mean, just spectacular. And I don't want people to miss it. She didn't start out a pro at this. She didn't start out making, the six figures, from the jump. She had to work her way up to it. So she stayed committed. She stayed focused. She developed systems and processes that supported her to help her to get better at the thing that she was passionate about. It's easier when it's something that you're passionate about, and then you're able to take the time to grow and develop. But Charlene, everybody wants money quick. They want money as of yesterday. And
Yeah.
I get it. But
Yeah.
there has to be a system. So let's go on. Like Charlene is breaking this down to us. She's helping us identify how dividends are a queen's best friend. So what more encouragement could you offer someone on how to really make this financial decision that is going to become their best friend?
Let's stick to your passion. Let's make everything easy about the things you love, because if you love to do it, you're going to do it. So when it comes to your finances and building your dividend portfolio, why not start with your passion?
Yeah.
Why not start where you are interested, the things that you really know, because that's when you're going to do the research and you're going to have a better outcome. So for me right now, when I think about the dividends that I want to add to my portfolio and research, I look at healthcare. Right. And so when I was in the hospital on the bed after surgery, guess what I did? I was looking around that hospital room to find dividend paying companies. I was looking at the bed. I was like, who made this bed? Who made the gloves that are coming out? Like and then I realized there were so many dividend paying companies in that room.
So when you say dividend paying companies, so you're looking at these big name companies that are supplying the hospital. How is it? So is that saying, okay, this is the thing that I should be investing in? Is that what we're talking about?
Those are ideas. Yes. So
Mhm.
you'll get your ideas. Now you'll find out the financial strength of the company. Is the company doing well? What
Mhm.
contracts does the company get? Like, is this the sole supplier of this hospital? Now that's a big thing if they are, right?
Mhm.
Like, let's look at the revenue. Let's look at the expenses. Let's understand this company to see if it's a good investment, right? If I invest in this company, will they be able to continuously pay me in the long run? Do they have a sustainable business model? Just like, think about your one of your family members who is asking for $100. Based on their record, if they are going to pay you back or not, right? And so we're going to use that same logic when it comes to companies. We can actually look at a company's track record to
Yeah.
see how much they pay people over time. Some companies have been paying people for over 100 years.
Wow.
And sometimes those companies not only pay you, but they give you a dividend increase. So they may pay you $1 this year, $1.25 the next year, $1.50 per share the following year, which can lead to thousands of dollars of more money in your portfolio because they continuously increase how much they give investors. So look at the track record of these companies. That's the best way to do it. And look at their future potential based on what's going on now, what trends are taking place in the marketplace. It's like finding that perfect match. Like,
Yeah.
what companies are well positioned? I think about when I was in college, all of my friends had MacBooks and they were so loyal. They were like, I'm not buying anything if it's not iPhone,
Yeah.
MacBook. They were loyalists. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why didn't I look at that as a potential investment at that time?
Yeah. True.
Yes. So investment ideas and opportunities are all around us.
I love it. Now, when we say investments, when we say portfolio, even when we say dividends, it strikes a chord in people and it makes them scared. Is this a scary venture? Like, should we, is it, logically sound that we are fearful of the word investment and portfolio? They say, shoot, I barely have money to feed my family. I don't have, or put money aside for my savings. I don't have money to be investing in the stock market and, giving these people my hard-earned money. Is this a realm that is only for, the people who are well equipped, or is this something that we all could do?
I love that investing has evolved so much that it's accessible to anybody. If you have $10, you can start building your dividend portfolio. So it doesn't take much. Like what you would pay for snacks, you can use to buy your asset.
Yeah.
There's something called fractional shares, which means if a stock costs $100, you don't need to have $100 on hand. You can buy a portion of that stock with $10 and get 1/10 of that company, and you can keep adding money when you can to build up more of that investment. Right? So you don't need everything at once. It's all about being consistent. I realize that everything in life, it's about discipline and consistency. If you have discipline and consistency, you will win. It's hard to fail if you just keep doing the same thing over and over. Put it on autopilot. You are going to achieve your goal.
I love it. So it's not as hard, it's not as scary as we think. It really just, and I am grateful that things have changed, because once upon a time we could not own stocks, especially in these big name companies. But now we can have the fraction, we can have a portion of it, so we get a little something something. So it shouldn't be a realm that we think is for other people. It is now accessible to us all. So I am so glad that you stopped by to share a little bit about finances, a little bit about the stocks and investings and portfolios. So all of these terms that we normally were afraid of, you now have put some logic behind it. You've now put, like you sprinkled a little glitter on top of it. So it's like we don't have to fear it as much as we once did.
Exactly.
So there is a way. There is a way. Charlene, do you have any last words of encouragement? If you want to speak specifically to a woman that is watching right now, and she's on the brink. She was half listening to what you were saying. She was half paying attention. What words of encouragement would you give as a lasting impartation to those who are watching?
Yeah. So I always tell people it takes courage to get in the game, commitment to stay in the game, and consistency to win the game. So if you want to become good at anything, whether it be better in your career or becoming a better dividend investor, you have to be willing to put yourself in the game and invest in you. Your portfolio can only grow as big or expensive as your mind will allow it. So if you have this vision of having $10,000 in passive income, you have to ask yourself, who am I willing to become in order to make that happen in my life? What am I willing to do in order to make that vision so real that it has no choice but to become your reality. Start slow. It doesn't have to be fast. Start slow, but get around the people who make it easy for you to consume this and watch what will happen in your life.
I love it. I love it. That was great information. Um, I want you all to make certain that this might be just like the first time people have really heard it broken down like this, and I don't want this to be the last. So I encourage everyone to make certain that they check out, Charlene's website, that they follow her on Instagram and Facebook. That you make this the starting point, and then you gleam a little bit more the next time you hear her speak. You just keep gleaming and gleaming until you have a fuller understanding. But I love those takeaway points, and I'm going to take them away myself, that anything that it is that I desire to do, the lifestyle, the dream life that I desire to have, I need to be strategic about it. But I also need to be committed to it, because oftentimes we start stuff, and the
Mhm.
minute it starts to get rough, the minute something happens, it takes away our attention, we put it on the back shelf. But it is about that consistency. So I'm grateful that you stopped by, even if it was just to say those words to us that we needed to marinate on, so that we understand as to what it is that we're doing here in this life. Now, Charlene, I know you got some good stuff going on. What's coming up next for you?
Yes. So I have my Wealthy Women Daily podcast. I started it back up so you can join me on Spotify and see how people are creating their wealthy life. It's all about creating wealthy habits for a wealthy life, and how will the things you do today contribute to your net worth tomorrow. So dive into those conversations with me. You can always get my book, Dividends, Our Queen's Best Friend, on Amazon. And I have a ton of events coming up. It's always changing. So make sure you go to charlenerhinehart.com so that you can find the latest events.
I love it. And we're going to have the links below in the description box, so no one can't say, oh, I couldn't find her after that. No, you'll have it. And if you're on my mailing list, I'm going to send it to you just in case you act like you can't find the description box. You on my mailing list, we're going to make certain that you get it in your inbox. You're going to have it in your email. So you'll have it. And it's no excuse. Hashtag no excuse for you not to put your financial future at the forefront of your brain. Charlene, I thank you so much for shining a little bit of light on finances, on health and wellness with us. And I know that you are going to continue to do great things. And I look forward. I'm going to check out that podcast too, because if we want to be better, we can't just say this is where I want to be in the next 10 years. We can't just say this is the plan. We've got to have some action steps that are going to get us closer and closer and closer. And listening into podcasts, listening into or reading books, this is the way that we're going to strengthen and empower ourselves. So Charlene, hang out just for a second. Let me get the people their marching orders. Wasn't that amazing, everyone? Listen, please make certain that you are checking out Charlene's social media handles. You're checking out her websites. You're getting that book, because the learning starts there. So if we want to be better, we've got to have these action steps that are going to get us to do better. So I hope that you have enjoyed this week's segment of the Black Girl Encourage Her just as much as I have. And we will look forward to fellowshipping again on the next segment. So you all have a great rest of your evening and be blessed.